Hi, Raj.
Hi, Gita.
So glad that you agreed to do this. As you know, this is a discussion on masculinity. And those of us working in feminist science studies often focus on, most naturally, on the question of women in science and also looking at how marginal groups get to enter science or not get to enter science, and then what happens when they are in science. We also look at deeper questions of methodology and disciplinary hierarchies and how these get gendered. But I thought that we could also move into the question of masculinity in science and look at how that idea of masculinity or the identity of being a man of science actually gets embodied by men in science, and how what are the challenges of being that man of science, and how do they navigate that identity. And what I have articulated or identified are 4 axes of separation in the idea of how the man of science actually gets constructed. And I submit that the man of science gets constructed as a man who has emotions completely under control, is not a man of faith, is not a man of politics, is apolitical, and also learns very quickly to compartmentalize art and science in ways that don't necessarily demand a intersection. So today I am with Raj Ladher, who is a biologist at the NCBS, developmental biologist, and looking forward to a meaningful conversation. So Raj, let's begin with looking back into early childhood. And where did you grow up? What was it to be a young boy in the community that you lived in, the context that you lived in, and how then did you slowly progress into a career in science? But let's start with the childhood questions, memories.
Yeah, I was born in London. My parents were, immigrants from Punjab. They'd come over.
First generation?
First generation.
First generation.
Yeah. So they'd come over a few years earlier. I was born in London. I grew up in London. Very lovely, loving family.
Yeah.
Have 2 sisters. And
Younger?
Younger than me, so I'm the oldest. And so I kind of grew up as an outsider in Britain. I think as a child of immigrants in that country, you never feel like you completely belong. But still, it was a
the early memories of not belonging. Do you recollect any?
Yeah.
What were the ways in which you felt continuously not belonging?
I grew up in the 70s. Kind of the Britain at that time was kind of reconciling with immigrants, and so there were a lot of far right groups that would protest, that would walk in front of the house.
So where in London did you?
West London.
West London. Okay.
Yeah, and so meeting them as a small boy, them calling me a Paki.
They called you a Paki.
Yeah. And then when you try and explain that actually I'm not from Pakistan, them hitting you and things like that, or spitting on you. And so those kind of things definitely were there as I grew up. So.
Yeah. And at home you had 2 younger sisters.
Yeah.
How's it? Relationship with your sisters? Did you play the role of the elder brother, older brother?
I tried to.
You don't have to.
I mean, so definitely. We would, play games.
You were mean to them. One of them. You remember that story?
Yeah,
you can tell us that story.
Yeah. So definitely, I remember very clearly stealing my sister's favorite doll.
I remember.
And so I think I was 3 or 4, and she must have been 1 or 2, and then feeding it to the neighbor's dog next door, just because the dog seemed so happy playing with this doll, and so I was just hanging it from the fence as the dog mauled it.
How old was your sister?
She must have been about 2.
So she doesn't really remember.
Oh,
this.
she remembers.
She does?
Yeah. Even though now we're in our 50s, she will bring it up at least twice or 3 times a year.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And any regrets on that?
No. I mean, no regrets. I mean, at least she remembers it.
Yeah, but you also took care of her.
Yeah.
When your mother went out to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, my parents were doing shift work, and so my father worked in a machine pressing factory. My mum worked in a cereal factory, and so they would have shifts, and every now and then the shifts didn't fully align, and so I would be left alone to look after my sister. Yeah, so it's just one sister. The other sister came much later, and so my mum would leave, or my dad would leave, and say, please look after your sister and just wait until I come back. And so and she would say that she would come back maybe, or when she would walk up the garden path, she would see me with my face in the window looking for her. Yeah, looking for when it was safe for me not to look after my sister anymore.
Or maybe just the anxiety of waiting for the mother to come home. I went through that a lot. So at home, did you speak Punjabi?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So where did your parents come from originally? Which part of Punjab?
So the Doab region. So
Doab region.
Yeah. So near Jalandhar. Yeah.
And which year did they move into?
So my dad came when he was 18, and so it must have been early 60s. My mum much later, so late 60s, so 1970, 69, something like that.
Did she move after she married your father, or?
Yeah, so my parents, so my dad came to Britain before he was married, so he was 18 when he arrived. Yeah. His father called him back to get married.
Okay.
And so then once they were married, then my mum followed. Yeah.
So neither of the earlier generation were in UK. Did they have family there when they did?
Yeah, my dad had an aunt.
Okay.
Who was there? Yeah.
So, how was school at that time? Did you go to the local school? How was school life?
School was fine. I mean, I feel like I don't. School was nondescript. Yeah, how do I say? I kind
no stories of bullying, no stories of...
some. But so my mum tells me that, up until the age of 3, when we can go to kindergarten, when we can go to nursery school, she would say that I really wanted to go to nursery. And so...
you wanted to go?
I would ask constantly for about half a year, since saying, when can I go to school?
When can I go to school?
And she says, when she finally took me to nursery, there were kids crying and holding on to their mother, and I just ran into the classroom. So there is that. I then moved to infant school, so junior school, where I had a hate relationship with the head teacher.
Really?
For some reason she did not like me.
She was British?
She was British.
White British?
Yeah. And at some point she, we have school assemblies, and I may have been talking in the back of assembly, and she called me to the front and slapped me.
No. How old were you?
I must have been about 6 or 7.
Oops.
Yeah, and because she knocked out a tooth.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so she slapped me really hard, knocked out a tooth. I went home and told my mum. Yeah, the next day, my mum said, I've taken the day off work. I'm going to take you to school.
To school.
And took me to school, and she took me to the, she
Head.
walked me to the classroom, and then she said, I'm just going to go and talk to your head teacher. And I don't know what she said, but afterwards the head teacher was very nice to me.
Really?
Yeah. And so she would, the principal would, when you finish a book, you'd get called to the principal's office to read the final page and get a sweet or something like that.
Okay.
And so she would give me 3 sweets instead.
Instead of one.
Yeah. And
So 1 slap and 3 sweets.
Yeah.
That's
So,
the story.
Yeah.
And the mother's magic.
Yeah. Somehow,
She never told you what she told you.
She never told me what she told.
What is your guess?
I don't know. She was
Mothers
furious.
have a way of standing up for their sons.
Yeah. My mum was, of course, furious, and she always has. She's kind of ferocious when she needs
Good,
to be.
solid Punjabi woman.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long were you in that school?
I was there for maybe 1 or 2 years. A while. So 3 until about 7. Okay, so 4
Okay.
years. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we moved town, and so we went further west of London. So I grew up in the early years in a town in London which is predominantly Indian. So for some reason, all of the Punjabis ended up there.
That's not surprising. They
Yeah.
tend to sort of ghettoize and live in that ghetto.
Yeah, and then we moved away from there to a predominantly white town.
This was when you were about 7.
7 or 8.
And your sisters were younger.
Yeah. So my youngest, Daisy, who's the next one down, is 5, and the youngest sister, Jyoti, was not born. So
She was not yet born.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this predominantly white school, I remember very clearly going into class, and the teacher, Mrs. Lancaster,
Yes, I remember
Yeah.
Mrs. Lancaster.
a very, very lovely lady, who said, please introduce yourself. And I said, my name is Raj Ladher. And she said, Rajesh, that's a very difficult name. I'm going to call you Roger. What? and so for the longest time, for a year, I was known as Roger in that school, which at the age of 7 you don't think much of, but looking back, I realised that
Absolutely.
it's not
Yeah.
wasn't so good.
Yeah.
And it's not as if Rajesh is a particularly
It
difficult
isn't,
name.
Not at all.
So
It's, I think we should start calling Jonathan Janardhan or something like that, and it'll
Yeah, exactly.
even out what happened to you.
yeah, exactly.
No, but this is interesting, and sort of you had to navigate this very early on.
Yeah.
This kind of thing about being an outsider, being, part of an immigrant family,
Yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
But this school sort of also was sort of helped you to, I think, get into science. The science education was very good at that time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So the next one, yeah. So this is still.
This was still the earlier one.
Yeah. So this is still kind of junior school, and a couple of years later, my parents are doing well in their. So they moved because they wanted to open a shop.
For your education.
Yeah, so they wanted to open a shop, and then someone had introduced them to a private school which was meant to give better education, and so they sent me there to offset the fees. I wrote a scholarship when I was about 9 or 10, and I got a scholarship for the science.
For the sciences.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the fees were paid
and so you
for.
moved into a private school.
Yeah.
And it was a mixed school.
It was a mixed school. Yeah. Yeah.
And what recollections of that school was it?
The-
Did you have to continue? Did you keep sensing the fact that you were an outsider, that you were?
Yeah. I mean, that's always.
Though you were born there, and you were.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's always present. I mean, you'll hear the same stories from any kind of
Immigrant.
child of immigrants. Yeah, when you start a new term or start a new year, the teacher would ask everyone, what did you do for your holidays? Yeah.
Yes.
And everyone was going to, Spain, or they'd go to Paris. I'd be going to see relatives in Leicester or Birmingham, which is not very exotic. And so you'd have to somehow make Birmingham sound much more exotic than it is.
Than Spain also.
Yeah.
Did you have to bring back pictures and do show and tell?
Yeah, this is.
Oh my God, they are awful. Yeah. But so, how often did you come back to India?
Not.
Did you have connections with the family in Goa?
Yeah. So my grandparents on both sides were around, and so I came back once when I was 5, and then afterwards, because when I came back, I got a kind of double dose of typhoid and cholera.
Oh, okay.
When I was 5, and so my grandfather refused to. He said he should not come.
Oh, he didn't want you to come.
Yeah. He's too sensitive.
Yeah. Oh my.
And so I didn't come until I was about 21. Afterwards.
No, from 5 to 21.
Yeah.
You didn't come.
Yeah.
Did your parents come?
Yeah.
But they would not get you along.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did your sisters come?
My sister came once or twice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Raj, we're talking about the children of immigrant families constantly facing this question of being the outsider. But I guess it gets accentuated depending on which class background you come from also, right?
Yeah.
So if you come from a fairly working class background, your experience is very different from if you come from extremely privileged backgrounds. In a private school, does this get played out? Did it get played out for you? And if yes, how?
So I think kind of coming from a coming from not a white background and not a white privileged background, was offset by being academically strong.
Okay.
And so, and that seemed to offset
especially
things.
In the sciences, right?
Especially in the sciences, but also other subjects as well. And so, being academically strong, you'd be put in a certain category, which was quite
It can
nice.
be an advantage, but it can also probably be a source of hostility and resentment.
Maybe.
But in your experience, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I said maybe because I didn't notice that.
Oh, you didn't notice.
Yeah, I didn't care about that.
Because there is a way of trying to also put it away, in our memory. We don't really.
It may have been that. Yeah.
So, what made you come back when you were 21 to India for a visit?
I had just finished my bachelor's degree. I was about to start my Ph.D.
Okay.
And so
this was all in the UK?
Yeah, everything was in the UK.
Yeah.
And so I had time spare, and my mum said, let's go.
Okay.
And so my mum brought me and my youngest sister to India. And we just.
And how long were you here?
I think I was here for maybe 2 months, 2.5 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from there, take us into the professional trajectory. When did you did your PhD at Cambridge?
No, I did my PhD in London. It's a research institute, National Institute for Medical Research. It's now incorporated into what's called the Francis Crick Institute in London.
So, what was your journey into choosing biology over, say, physics or chemistry? What was the interest there?
So, I mean, you'll have to rewind kind of to childhood, and it really was just, I think, what most of us have done, which is just playing with insects, playing with animals, and for me it was trying to asking questions like, why does a spider have 8 legs and a ladybird have 6 legs? How are these spots formed in this butterfly wing? How does where do eggs come from? You know, things
But you
like that.
remember these questions as a child, is it?
Yeah.
Asking that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then kind of I guess the TV shows that I would watch. There was one TV show that I loved, which was called Quincy MD, and Quincy is because the show's probably recorded somewhere, is a forensic scientist, and so forensic pathologist, and so when there's a crime, he will use his forensic skills to uncover how that happened. And so I really kind of like the idea of using these kind of approaches, and so I couldn't really. Quincy would come on when I was about 10 or 11. And so I had no idea about experimentation and controls and so on. But I liked the idea that you could investigate things. And so, and that kind of maybe shaped
a lot of your future choices.
My parents, being first generation immigrants, wanted me to become a doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, they were, and I was fairly clear that I was going to be a doctor, until I filled in my university application forms, and I went from medicine to, I don't really like sick people. I don't like the sight of blood.
And hospitals.
And so I don't really want to be a doctor. And so,
closest to that is to do.
And so I realized that I wanted to be a scientist, and I realized that one way to become a scientist is to first do a Ph.D. and then take that route. And so that's what
any sort of figures that you had in mind, whom you looked up to, things like that at the time?
Not
Biology,
really.
science.
Yeah, I mean, of course, my biology teachers were amazing. I had two fantastic biology teachers. I think all of my science teachers are really, really fantastic.
Okay.
Chemistry teacher was amazing, Dr. Bucknell, and I think he kind of pushed me to kind of do much more than I was doing. The biology teachers, Mr. Thompson, Dr. Debenham, were kind of also introducing me to new concepts and new ideas that, so while, I remember very clearly Mr. Thompson just coming to class, this was maybe when I was 17 or 18, and, while everyone else was maybe dissecting, I think, like a piece of chicken or something like that, he gave me a heart to dissect. It was like in a bag. He came in with a carrier bag and he said, "This is for you."
Why?
And it was a heart.
Because it's more difficult to
dissect? There was more things to think about there. And so definitely teachers were amazing.
And they were not calling you Roger.
No, they had dropped Roger.
By then. So, and then you went on to doing your PhD.
It's developmental biology.
Developmental biology. So that early enchantment that you had, looking at why the spots on the butterfly, how has that continued in your life as a professional scientist? Do you retain that, or does somewhere that sort of goes away in becoming a professional scientist?
I must say it went away, and so that the kind of you while I was doing my PhD, and PhDs are hard work, and then postdocs, and trying to consolidate what you've learned and what you can do so that you can then have a career in science. You're working hard and you're being pragmatic and so on. But once you get out of that, you can remember the wonder that you had for science and for nature, and so that always kind of is important. That kind of childlike wonder of nature, just to look around you and think.
So has it come back? Do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
impart that to your
Yes.
students and mentees?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, try
yes.
to keep that alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think now that I
Established.
yeah, now that I'm established, there's more time
Well
to
established. Yeah.
established, well, whatever that means. There's more time to kind of think of that.
Yeah. So, Raj, the question I wanted to also maybe ask here is that, biology gets thought of as a discipline which is much more feminized as opposed to physics, because physics is on top of the pecking order in biology. Do you feel that in the hierarchy of the sciences, do you feel that biology is sort of not given equal status as, say, physics, or has that changed now?
I'm not sure if it's changed. I mean, it's always kind of been that way.
Implicitly there.
Yeah, but I believe, and this is going to the public as well. Yeah, I believe that's more of a problem for physicists and mathematicians than it is for biologists.
I'm so glad somebody's saying that out in public, Raj. I'm very thankful for you to say
So
that.
I don't think.
No, I also ask this question because that probably is the reason to explain why there are more women tend to sort of get pushed to or gravitate towards biology, and you find such few women in physics, for example. So as a man, as a person, male in biology, how do you look at that? Firstly, that it is a feminized discipline, and secondly, it's a bit, though the top biologists are always men, but they are still not the physicist, right?
Yeah, again, I don't particularly view biology as feminized or masculinized and so on. There's,
No, that's not your view.
Yeah,
That's the view that we feminists see,
Okay.
that there is a process of gendering of biology.
Okay.
Because one, it studies nature.
Okay.
Second, it's not so exact necessarily. Third, women are seen as close to nature, so therefore there's a certain feminization of the discipline that happens.
Okay.
I mean, people within biology might not feel that.
Yeah.
It's a perception from the outside.
Yeah, I don't know how to,
But you do think that the physicists often tend to be held up much more in esteem and things like that than biologists, or no? Even if it is their problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a biologist, and I'm not particularly.
No, I think I'm now pushing you to say something that you might not want.
No, I'm happy to say things that so definitely as a biologist, I kind of love the subject. I think that the answers to many of kind of life's problems are, of course, in biology.
Right.
The abstraction that you get from physics and maths is valuable, but they're abstractions. They sometimes then remove the kind of wonder of nature, the awesomeness of nature. From life. That's the problem that's when it becomes the problem of the physicists and the mathematicians.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, Raj, now let's move a little bit to the question of these axes of separation.
Okay.
So, for instance, the question of emotion, is something that is generally kept out of the domain of science, because it's apparently, and the narrative of science is that it's driven by rationality, and therefore emotions gets a secondary place. And that sort of very often translates in the personal lives of scientists also, in the way they operationalize their own day-to-day life, their decisions, major decisions of life. How has it been for you?
I think.
Let me say, how do you think what is the place of emotion, if I may ask, just very directly, in your worldview?
So, so definitely the emotions that are positive. So things like
always.
yeah, so emotions are generally positive, or positive emotions help kind of keep you engaged and wondering about scientific questions. Yeah, so there are
joy,
love,
compassion,
all of this.
that kind of,
Yeah. And then even some of the negative emotions will help you find that connection with life as well. So I think, so definitely, I think it's difficult to remove emotions from the scientific process. Of course, you try
But is there a need at all to do that?
to remove. No,
emotion?
I don't even think there is that need. Yeah. I mean, I find joy and pride when my students do well. Yeah, and that emotion drives me to make sure that my students do well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
so
it's not as if emotions have been removed. There is rage, there is anger, there is need to control. All those exist.
Yeah.
It's just that a narrative of emotion, because it's connected with being weak or soft or feminine, tends to sort of get pushed behind. To a large extent.
Well, I guess the scientific process is meant to be dispassionate. The way you analyze data and establish experiments is meant to be, without passion.
And yet there's a whole discourse around you must be passionate about what you do.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's an interesting conundrum there.
Yeah.
And passion is one of the only emotions in sort of
absolutely.
allowed. To the exclusion of everything else.
Exactly.
You must pursue science.
Yeah. So you have to be a passionate scientist, but you have to be
dispassionate.
Yeah, but you have to pursue science dispassionately.
And then you make levels and compartmentalize.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really unfortunate. But in your personal life, Raj, I mean, how have emotions played a role as not just as a man of science, but as a man? Very often men are allowed to express very few emotions, maybe anger, maybe loyalty, but the softer emotions very often are not accessible to men in many cultures.
So definitely,
Was your father was he demonstrative about his emotions, his vulnerabilities?
Not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah. Parents were fantastic role models, to the extent of demonstrating emotions as well, which I don't do so much.
Yeah.
But coming back to the question of how emotions have played their role in kind of the science, in
your life.
In my life.
In your life.
So definitely you definitely do things for love, okay, and you definitely wake up each morning and go into the lab for love, either for the love of a person you're with, for your partner who relies on your salary to to eat. Yeah, so that's one thing. And love for the work as well. Okay, love for the students you're with. And then on the flip side, you have things like grief, which will then help you kind of reassess your life, but and your research, and to ask whether the way you're pursuing things is the right way. And so those, they're vague answers.
Holds up a mirror to
exactly. And so I think emotions play a huge role. We can't, and we're human beings. We can't.
Not just, it's not just things that need to be controlled, but it can be things that direct you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like you said, in grief, for example. And you've had some very profound personal griefs, and that sort of channelized some of the directions in which you do. So Raj, when did you come back to India? Come to India, not back. What was the process of deciding that?
So I was in Japan. I was a faculty in a research institute in Kobe in Japan, and it's a fixed term contract, and so the contract had come to an end. My partner at that time had just passed away from cancer, and so they extended my contract a little bit just to help me kind of cope with that.
Oh, they did that,
Yeah.
is it?
And so after, and so...
How old were you, actually?
This is maybe about 10, 11, 12 years ago, so I was just turned 40.
40. And she was younger?
No, she was the same age, yeah.
She was the same age as you.
Yeah.
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 And it was very hard. So
Yeah. That's hard. That's hard. And so this is someone you have made kind of future plans with, someone you're expecting to spend the rest of your life with, who is no longer there.
Yeah.
And that is that's not good. Sorry, that's not good. Of course, it's not good. It's horrible. Yeah.
And anyway, maybe we'll come back to that. But so the organization made some space for you to find a foothold again, your emotional balance again.
Yeah, and so even during that time, there was a visit to NCBS, and
I see. Okay.
And I kind of loved the atmosphere here.
You did?
And so I'd been to NCBS a few times before that as part of collaborative visits, and I thought NCBS was fantastic. The breadth of science was amazing.
You met Obaid?
I never met Obaid. But I could understand how you could do so much more than you would be able to do anywhere else.
Right.
And even though the resources were kind of not as great as you'd find somewhere in the US or the UK or in Japan, still the kind of energy and the vibrancy of the place was amazing. And so once I was in the mental space to find a new job, I applied here.
You came.
Yeah. And I came
but,
here.
Suraj, the question that I wanted you to address is that weren't you worried about coming to a place which was something which was home but not home, which had been left, parents had left it years ago. You had very little connection with.
Yeah.
And we all know that Indian science, particularly kind of research institutes, they are overpopulated with people from upper caste backgrounds, largely men from regions, largely Bengal and Tamil Nadu. It's a very dense kind of demography of certain groups from certain kind of social locations. Did that worry you when you came here?
No.
It did.
No, because maybe I didn't know about it.
You didn't know about it. Yeah.
So maybe I've never been in a research institute in India, and even though I'm a Dalit, so I'm the lowest caste, but growing up in Britain, it doesn't really. It's not as insidious as it is if I'd grown up in India. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Even in the kind of early ghetto kind of scenario where you did tell me once that
So
your mother did experience some of that
and so we had a
caste-based discrimination.
So the shop next door,
yes, I remember that
was run by Jats.
The Jats there. Yeah.
And we would walk past as a family,
right,
and they would frequently just say Jamar to us, as we walk past.
Yes.
And at some point, they then kind of said to us, as my mum was walking as well, that look at this family of these children of prostitutes or something along those lines, which then
And you were very young then.
I was very young. I didn't understand what was going on.
What was going on?
Except all I saw then was my mum turning around and then whacking the lady who had said this. Yeah. So my mum got into a fist fight with the with this lady.
I think we should celebrate
Oh my
your
God.
mom.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Sounds fierce and furious.
Yes,
no?
yes.
As she should be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But those early experiences, I'm sure, like you're saying, with upward mobility and with academic excellence that you sort of acquired, you could counter that. But when you came to India, how was it? I mean, it's firstly there are very few people, very few Dalits in Indian academia, and particularly the sciences. You don't see them.
Yeah.
And most of the institutions carry an implicit casteism. And people almost think, no, we don't practice it, it doesn't exist, you know, we are free of it, you know, everybody's equal, everything is on merit. But when you look at the ground reality, it's not like that. So how has it been for you to be a Dalit amongst, in the Indian scientific community?
You know, I'm not, like I said, I'm an outsider here, I'm an outsider there, okay? And so I grew up as a Dalit in Britain, which is easy to deal with. I didn't grow up as a Dalit here in India, which I think is much more insidious, and carries with it a lot more baggage,
Right.
I believe.
Right.
And so, you know, I think my upbringing, especially my interactions with my uncle,
Yes,
yeah,
I was just
was
coming.
was kind of instructive here, yeah, because
This is your uncle in
yeah.
India?
Yeah. And he would visit every now and then. We'd talk over the phone sometimes. But at some point, you know, he said to me, you know, when someone asks you who you are, you say you're a Chamar. Yeah.
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 I remember you telling me, he said, look into their eyes and say.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
That must have been extremely empowering at that moment, no? To be told that or no?
To be 10 and to be told that, it doesn't matter, okay, because you don't know what it means.
You were just 10, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
you don't know what it
yeah.
means. You
Yeah, I
don't.
shouldn't romanticize this.
Yeah. You don't know what it means. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, the whole idea of this carried on with me. Yeah.
But
And so,
it meant a lot to him, I'm sure.
I think so,
To
yeah,
tell
yeah,
you that.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Because he was asserting and claiming his
yeah,
own
yeah,
rightness.
yeah. And so I you know, there's I put. Yeah. I mean, when I got this advice then, you know, I thought it was kind of playful, but now I realize, you know, just how much weight that carries. So yeah, of course, asserting your identity, you know, kind of being, but also being kind of proud of your ancestors.
Right.
You know, the Chamars who got you to this point. Yeah. And so you know, and so that I needed to respect them as well. And so, you know, there's no point.
Rather than, you know, hiding or shying away from it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because there's been a lot of attempt to conceal caste in higher education institutions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's amazing that you're able to articulate it. How does it work now in a place like this, for example?
So, I mean, I kind of, there's one incident where kind of a colleague, you know, playfully said, you know, we should only hire Brahmins in NCBS as faculty members, or, you know, let's check their caste. If they're Brahmins, they're fine. Yeah. And my answer to this faculty member was, you know, come the revolution, you'll be first against the wall. Yeah. Yeah. And so
did they apologize? Did he apologize?
No. But you know, he was being playful. I was being playful back. Yeah.
Yes, humor tends to sort of just conceal some of this. No?
Yeah. Perhaps. Yeah.
You also said to me at some point, in terms of division of labor, also sometimes there is this.
Yeah, that I feel does exist. I feel that that there's a certain kind of feeling that you know, for example, you'll see some faculty members who will say, if they're asked to do something service-oriented, something that's for the institution rather than for their lab. No, I can't possibly do this. Yeah, my science is more important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I need to focus on my science. I need to focus on my research.
Yeah.
And so that does seem to be something that really can be broken up on long caste lines.
On long caste lines, because there's also this sort of privileging of academic abstract work versus administrative work, and a lot of women report this. Women in science also report this, saying that a lot of secondary work, either top committees might not come to them, but in conferences, for example, you take care of the lunch, you take care of this, all the secondary work is generally pushed to women, and how they need to, or they find themselves resisting that. So it's very interesting, kind of intersectionality that you feel, but is there things that you actively do to address the question of caste in science, Raj?
Not so actively. What
I mean is things like, making a conscious effort, because see, in the state universities and others, you have some checks and balances because of the reservation policy. So, but in some of these institutions, we don't have that. So then how do you ensure diversity? How do you ensure people coming in from different backgrounds?
So that I feel is kind of a much more of a long-term aim. Of course. And so, we've established the Science Education Office, which is charged with doing exactly that. So, so we have two people here, Hindu and Kriti, who are doing a fabulous job, making sure that we have internship programs that kind of engage people from kind of underrepresented communities, and the idea is to increase the diversity. In the hope that the science that one does eventually will also change. Absolutely. Reflect that diversity. Absolutely. So not only do we kind of maybe inspire some of these interns to then take a career in science, but I think also it inspires some of our students to think differently about the way they do science as well.
No, but I think having people like you in the world of science also would be inspiring. I'm sure that they all think that you have an advantage because you came from the UK and you came with that privilege. And yet it is the fact that you are open now out there saying that I'm Dalit, and I say it with pride and assertion, makes a lot of difference. So thank you for that one. You said that you are an atheist. You don't believe. This whole question of faith is also a big question of separation of faith and religion in science. So when and how did you become an atheist? Or was it always there? Were your parents atheists? I'm sure they were fighting against Hinduism and its entire baggage that comes.
I mean, my parents grew up in Punjab. And so, they're part of this, my dad was part of this movement where kind of Dalits converted to Buddhism. And so he was Buddhist. My mum, being Punjabi, had a mix of Hinduism and Sikhism, because that's how
she didn't convert to Buddhism. She was not a neo Buddhist.
I mean, everyone, the problem was at home, religion was very fluid, and so we had pictures of Buddha, we had pictures of Guru Nanak and Guru Ravidas as well, and so so we had we could pick and choose, and Mecca as well. Yes, of course, So we had all of these kind of icons up on the wall.
So all three of you siblings grew up with that kind of...
And all three of us are, I think all of us are atheist. I think we're all atheists, and
So that was the early context in which
Yeah.
you can take,
Yeah.
understand your atheism.
Yeah.
Did your training in science also sort of, corroborate that, amplify that, something like that?
no,
No?
no,
No?
no.
It has nothing to do with this.
I think it's nothing to do with that. Yeah, definitely not.
interesting.
Yeah, just because I think the fluidity of the religions when I was growing up made me realize that that we could have a moral code, we could have our principles that was separate from religion, and faith, and I believe that's the only real reason for having faith, is to impress a moral code. But
So where would that moral code come from?
that sense of right and wrong, your natural sense of ethics, I guess that has come of course, listening to Buddhist lectures, listening to kind of the Guru Granth Sahib, okay, and so it kind of shapes the way you think about things, but also lets you not really fixate on a particular religion.
So what you're saying is it might be a moral philosophy, gives you a moral philosophy.
Yeah.
But it might not bind you with the rituals or that you associate with religion.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But those texts and those conversations provide some sort of so one of the major functions of religion, as you know, is to provide this moral compass. The fact that it doesn't do that today is tragic. But one of the functions is that. The other one, as we know, is that when in deep personal crises of suffering, people do turn to the idea of God, to the idea of beyond. Now, you went through one of the most difficult experiences of your life when you lost your partner, and that too so tragically. At that time also you didn't feel the need or you didn't want to turn to the idea of God, or to help you, tide over that grief. And I remember you telling me that, what else helped you at that time?
So there was, I had a fantastic network of friends at that time.
You told me that,
and and they would take turns in looking after me, and so taking me out, in Japan, and even though my Japanese was terrible, and their English was not so good either, somehow they looked after me, and just knowing people were there. My parents came out, they came to Japan. They were there for me.
They were also very close to your wife.
Not so much.
They didn't know her that well. But they came for you.
Yeah. And then I had one fantastic, many fantastic friends were there, and so the value of kind of that human connection just was made more clear to me. I remember talking with one of my friends phoning me up, and she works in near Tokyo, and she said, I just heard about Kana. What are you doing at the moment? Tokyo is 600 kilometers from Kobe. I said, I'm just at home, just watching TV. She said, okay, I'm on my way. And so she took the next flight down and took me out. And so that, things like that were amazing. But also you realize in the process that, and I think everyone who has felt grief that early to someone like that will tell you that, you need to ensure that, you know, your friendships and those human connections are nurtured. You know, if you love someone, tell them. Yeah, don't wait until tomorrow to tell them.
Yeah.
If you are proud of someone, tell them.
Tell them.
Yeah, yeah, don't. Yeah,
So once again, being very transparent with
Yeah,
your
yeah.
emotions and your
Yeah,
vulnerabilities.
yeah, absolutely.
Making space for that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But it's fascinating that you found in the most profound grief the possibility in, again, human relationships
Yeah.
rather than on giving up on,
Yeah.
on any
Yeah.
of that. And restoration of meaning perhaps came through that.
Yeah, maybe, but that came quite late, I think. You know, grief is grief, yeah, and you know, and profound grief is profound grief, yeah, and you're angry, you're depressed,
Yeah. Sad.
yeah, you know, you're a wreck. People will take you out, and you're just quiet, you
Yeah,
know,
I can
and things like that. So, yeah,
Did it take a toll on your work also?
my work stopped.
Just completely?
Yeah, my work stopped, and yeah, so definitely, I, you know, since her illness in 2012, for about 5 years after, you know, I couldn't really do anything. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you think Indian institutions make space for this, like your organization in Japan did?
I mean, I don't think they would have waited 5 years for me to do something.
Get back.
Yeah, they gave me a slight extension on me being there.
That's all.
Yeah, yeah, like an 18-month extension, but that's it. And then moving to India then acted as another buffer zone. I could quite nicely say, you know, I've just moved.
Okay.
You know, I'm settling in. So, yeah.
Would it have been more difficult if you had children?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure it would have been difficult. I mean, also.
I ask because
Yeah, but also you know,
some case,
yeah,
you know, where women employees.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's going to be incredibly difficult. Yeah, absolutely, it's going to be more difficult. At the same time, you don't have the luxury to stew in your grief. Yeah, you
don't have the luxury.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
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 So, let's move a little bit to the question of, politics. And how important do you think it is for you as a man of science to keep politics out of science? And when I say politics, I mean it at all three levels. One is the world of the politics of governments and markets and the pressure that comes on science. The other is the politics within science. And then third is the politics of being involved in civic society movements towards a better society. All three, how have you navigated these?
It's
or are you navigating continuously still?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the first one, the politics of governments. Is it's difficult to navigate when you're a scientist. If you're not a politician actively involved in that, it's difficult to navigate.
So controls are too many.
Yeah. And so I feel like we can think about that last, I think. Yeah. The second one, the politics of the institute, I think we can also separate that a little bit. Because that becomes politics of science. The politics, so me as a member of civic society, and how my participation is in civic society, we kind of all have a responsibility. You know, we're people and we're part of the citizenry. We have our deep senses of what is right and wrong, and we should exercise that as well. The kind of the muffling of our voices, that may go against whatever the prevailing view is not correct, and that talks to the top level. Yeah, how do we navigate
that conversation?
Yeah, but definitely, I don't think there needs to be such a disconnect between us as people who live in society and us as scientists. The scientific process is kind of rooted in kind of strong sense of ethics, what's right and wrong. We do science rigorously. We don't fabricate, we don't plagiarize, we don't falsify data. So we kind of pursue it kind of with a doggedness, and the same sense of right and wrong kind of comes to bear in how we deal with society as well. That pothole that's outside the road. Yeah, how do we deal with that? Yeah, do we ignore it? Yeah. I think that's easy. Politics within science is more difficult because there's kind of multiple layers there as well.
Yeah.
There's multiple hierarchies that you have to navigate, and multiple kind of personal interactions that you have to navigate as well, and that's tough.
Yeah.
And in situations like that, it's nice to be an outsider.
Safe space.
Yeah.
And to have a sense of humor.
I don't know if I have a sense of humor.
Yeah, we women are continuously told you must develop a sense of humor. If there are sexist jokes around you, don't get touchy.
Yeah, that's.
If there are casteist jokes around you, don't get touchy. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the last thing I wanted to understand in the way you look at things is, what has been the role of, say, something like literature or art or theatre, the arts and the sciences? Because we tend to sort of compartmentalize them into two different compartments. How do you do that? Are you sort of interested in the arts, or do you restrict yourself to science?
I mean,
You enjoy a good piece of music.
Yeah. Definitely, I love music. I love a piece of literature. Haven't been to the theatre for a long time, but still, science itself is a creative process.
Okay.
And
of course.
Yeah. So the inspiration has to come from somewhere. You listen to the way a bunch of notes are strung together in a piece of jazz, for example. Gives you an idea about how various ideas can be strung together as well. That they don't need to make immediate logical sense.
Yeah.
That there's a long game there as well. Sure. So similarly with kind of hard literature, that also focuses, develops the way to focus and kind of, if you've ever tried to read Ulysses, for example, you come out of that with, being able to focus on a lot of things, and so that only is helpful for the science. So I don't think there's a need to compartmentalize. They're both creative processes, and we need inspiration from wherever we can get
Probably require different skills and different
definitely.
training.
Yeah.
If we can at least keep that unity alive, that they are both creative, it sort of helps.
Yeah.
No? So, what do you want to tell young people out there? Because I'll tell you why I ask this is because we, in the question of women in science, we are out there trying to make role models, and role models which are all about how I succeeded and what I did, and, how my family supported me and all of that, without really giving the true picture of what goes on.
Yeah.
So do we need to tell people what goes on also?
Yeah, it's important to know that where scientists are human. Yeah. We
And
kind
very
of
powerful humans.
some are very powerful. Okay, some are not. But you know, they everyone should be prepared to be human. So be a scientist with humanity, basically. When it comes to the personal stuff, then, you know, my learning from dealing with grief is, you know, just be open with your emotions and transparent with your emotions. Yeah, because it works. It's nice.
It's healthier.
Yeah, yeah. You know, if you love someone, tell them. Yeah, don't save that for another day. If you need to see your parents, see them. Yeah, things like that. So, when it comes to role models, the kind of these strong sets of principles. You want a principled role model, essentially. So someone who really has a strong sense of right and wrong. But I don't know who that is. Yeah.
Comes probably from the idea of being human.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
So
being in touch with your humanity.
Yeah. So definitely, yeah, we just need to remember the humanity.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anything you want to say?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Thank you very much for being honest and candid. Thank you.